what I'm about to share in this video, I really wish I would have realized it much sooner, because after I was able to change my relationship with emotions, how I approach them, how I see them, it influenced almost everything in my life. It influenced my relationship with myself, with life, what I'm able to do, and my mental health, and really a lot of things. And I think we really don't give too much attention, in our everyday life, to what emotions are and what they are trying to tell us, and how we are influencing our life, our state, and our mental health by how we treat our emotions. So I will share here a bit of my story, how it all started, and what approach I'm using now, and what changes I see. Because it started many years ago. I think it was like more than 15 years ago, when I started to work with a therapist. I found him because my depression was getting really bad, like worse and worse each year. So I finally decided to find help. But I didn't have only depression. I also had anxiety, also panic attacks at some point, insomnia. So there was like real mess. And yeah, he was giving me some treatment for all this stuff, but also we had talking therapy, and we were working on all sorts of issues that were common. We were working for years with him. And one of the issues that was common a lot for me is that I didn't love myself, couldn't accept myself. And there was one moment related to emotions that I never gave too much attention to, but I remembered it today, suddenly, something that was like so long time ago, because this is something that finally changed for me. When I was talking with him about my worries, my anxieties, my fears, I remember how he was, by asking me certain questions, he was trying to show me different way, like Lisa, it looks like you kind of thinking that having anxiety is something like not normal. You see it in a way that is something kind of not okay, that you need to get rid of it, that's something wrong with you because you sometimes feel anxious. But I really wanted to get rid of it. I really had this idea, illusion that I can arrive to some state that I will always feel good, like most of the time I will feel good, that the kind of the meaning of mental health for me would be that I'm kind of always maybe not even happy, but don't have negative emotion, like I'm not suffering, I don't feel bad. And going through my life, working on myself, healing a lot of stuff from the past, it still was driven by this idea to arrive to some magical moment of being kind of happy or feeling okay. And it was very difficult for me to accept negative emotions. My example here was about anxiety, but it was like with everything. I was avoiding feeling them. And like if I was after having like several years of treating my depression and finally feeling better and stopping taking all the medication, and it's already like 9 years since I'm not taking anything, and continue doing work on myself. And then you've done all this work, but you still feel bad at some points, you still feel negative emotions, and at some point something happened, you get even not maybe full-on chronic depression, but in the moments when you feel depressed, or this strong anxiety and fears, or when this anger comes. I had such a big problem with accepting anger. And was doing all the things, even when I was already working with childhood traumas, and I was learning to connect with all the pain, with all the emotions from the past, and releasing them, reliving them, allowing them to be, learning how emotion works, learning how to process them, and all this kind of stuff. I think somewhere unconsciously, for a very long time, there still was this idea that I should not have negative emotions, that the idea where I want to arrive, that there are no fears, there are no anger, there is no sadness, there are no these depressed feelings, there are no shame, there are no guilt. So I was trying to arrive that I'm not sure that actually really possible. But what has finally changed? I the more and more work I was doing with emotions, the more I saw this interesting pattern, how quickly they can change. Because when you allow them to be without judging, without resisting, without trying to do anything possible to not to feel them, to make them go away, when you not numbing, not distracting, when you really fully with certain emotion. And it's not only about intense emotions like fear of anger. It could be some fear of sadness or loneliness or just some unhappiness or even apathy. I actually made a great video many years ago when I was reviewing the book of David Hawkins, and I was telling my story how I was using his techniques for emotions, and I was start to work with apathy, and for me was one of the insight like apathy is also kind of emotion. So we work not only with something intense, but also with something that feels like almost nothing. Accepting all the emotional states and being with them is one of the tools that you can use. But what really helps when you start seeing them as normal. When you don't see negative emotion of a signal that you're doing something wrong, that something is wrong with you, that you're broken, that you're crazy, that you're sick, that you're going, I don't know, in the wrong direction, everything. Yes, our emotions, they work as certain indicators, like you can have anger when maybe you went to some people-pleasing habit and you couldn't say no, or someone violated your personal boundaries or something, and anger can come and it's a signal to do something, yeah? Or you can have real fear, like when you need to quickly do something to avoid some danger, yeah? Or when you go to some uncertainty, something new, yeah, there is a fear, and all these kind of things. Or like you have some loss in your life and you're grieving it and you go to depression. They have some function, some reaction or something. But I would treat them as indicator that something is wrong with me if we don't like them, if we're avoiding them, if we're pushing them away, hiding, numbing, distracting. They are not really going away. And when we can really be stuck in negative emotions, when we're resisting them. There is a saying, what we resist persists, and this could be with a negative state. For example, what I realized, I probably can't achieve 24/7 bliss or happiness or calmness. What is possible to achieve is 24/7 suffering. This I know for sure. And the more we judge these things as not normal, judge ourselves for having these things, trying to change them instead of feeling and allowing, instead of healing, we can cause ourselves 24/7 suffering. I hope you're not in this situation. Probably you have sometimes negative, sometimes positive. And what other change I noticed when I start allowing these things more and more, the other shift was to first deal with emotional wave, feel it, and only then trying to solve something or deciding everything, making some conclusion, to separate emotion from the story and from the situation and work directly with emotion and feel directly the emotion. The more I start doing it, and the more I also was telling myself that not all the emotions connected to what's happening. There could be a lot stuck and unprocessed, especially if you had some traumatic childhood, especially if you had mental health issues. They can be coming from the past, and you can see your reality, your life, yourself in a such distorted way just because something coming here from the past. So once you start changing the approach, I can notice what start changing for me. They start changing so quickly that I saw that I can be sometimes under such a strong fear and see everything kind of negative way, the future and everything, like scared by something. And then if I just allow the feeling in the body, process this without trying to solve anything, I can notice just 1 hour, 2 hours, something, I'm in a completely different state. Or I can be in a very long sadness, maybe some kind of hopeless feeling coming, or like you see yourself in some way that you can't do something's not working, or maybe loneliness, kind of sad feelings. And when I allow them and I just observe them, it doesn't mean that I like them. I don't enjoy them. No, I'm not enjoying them, but I'm just with them. I'm not rejecting them. I'm accepting them, kind of embracing it. Then I see also some time passes and I completely different state. I can be happy, I can be excited, I can be motivated, I can feel joy. And when I start observing like that through the day, I can go through all sorts of emotions many times, and if I don't judge them, if I don't make life decisions from them, if I don't allow them to control me, I suggest accepting them as they are, the part of certain movements in the body, also in the nervous system, and all these emotional things, that they are not telling anything about me as a person. They are not telling anything about about my life and my life situations. Separating them and letting them be, and like this, I'm able to process more of unprocessed childhood pain, fears, and anger. And when I do this, I start having also more energy to do things, to allowing myself to do things, and I'm less blocked by the fear of the emotion. Because sometimes, for example, you want to do something, but you're not doing it because you're afraid of the feeling, because you know if I do it, it will be too much of anxiety, or if I do it, I will feel maybe shame or guilt and these kind of things. And now I start talking more and more about things like guilt and shame as an emotions, or also opposite could be also some freeze response of the nervous system, because I think they are not getting enough attention. We're focusing more on anger, fear, pain. But there are other emotions, and there are a lot. Once you start understanding them, once you start allowing them to be, once you will becoming more and more compassionate to yourself about having them, you can have quite a lot of changes in your life, in your energies, what you can do and how you feel. For me, removing this idea of always feeling good and start seeing feeling bad as part of normal life is really helping to feel better more often, and to do more things that before I was not doing. If it's something that you're interested in to know more, to get more practical tools about different emotions, I really recommend you to subscribe to my channel. I publish a lot of content on this topic. I have separate video on guilt, for example, separate video of many videos about anger, videos about self-love. You can check what is of your interest, what is more important for you now. You can also check the video where I gave a guided practice to connect with your heart chakra. This one can help you to get more feeling of this acceptance, to be with what is. It's very practical. You can feel the change, the shift already while you're watching this. And if you want to go even deeper on the journey of personal growth, transformation, inner healing, and returning to your wholeness, you can check my book on Amazon, The Return from Fragmentation to Wholeness. It's available now. I explain there what is fragmentation, how we can gather back all our energy or rejected parts, pieces, how we can process all the emotions. It's 100-day program, very practical. Everything that I'm giving there, I'm doing by myself. I'm using it all the time, and I'm getting my results. If you have any questions, you can leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.